Welcome! In this episode I will work on this beautiful BMW 7 Series E38. If you are a regular viewer of this channel, you already know this car. My task is to replace the electric steering column because this thing is not bueno. In my last video, when I have retrofitted the active seat because it was only the driver's seat, I needed to adjust the steering column. And when I have done that, I will show you now in this clip. You can hear that. Yeah, that sound was no bueno. Maybe the steering column have failed at that time or was from before. Either way, I will need to replace it. So for this car, I have a second-hand one that is working, but I want to refurbish it. Before that, you see this here? Yeah, this screams 7 Series. That's why I love these cars. And this is the replacement part from this car. I want to dismantle it, to clean it, and after that I will be able to mount it on the car. I can see here that the car from where this part is was green. You can see the color of this part. The way that this was removed from the car is not my business. And you can see here, this piece was removed from a car made in '96. My car is from 2000. So there will be a difference on the steering stalks, but won't be a problem because this part is replaceable. So for your own knowledge, you can use an electric column from a car made in '96 and mount it on the car made in 2000, or a column steering from a car made in 2000. You can mount it on a car made in 1994. You will need to change the support for the ignition switch and the switches, the stalks for turn signal and wipers, because they are different in the way that they are mounted on the steering column. Okay. This part from here, it's easy removable now. I won't need that anymore. You can see this here, it's a safety screw that will have a 30mm hex head here, and when this screw will be torqued at a specified torque, this will break. And that's why this screw is called the safety screw, because you cannot remove it very easy after the hex head is broken. But as you can see here, someone have worked over the system and have managed to remove it and put it back. But after you remove this type of screws, you don't need to put them back. You can replace them with normal 30mm screws. Yeah, they are very tightened. But the same like when this was on the car with the hammer and the screwdriver, you can remove the screws. This job is easier to be done on the car because the steering column will be fixed in a place and you will have more leverage with the hammer. And now I can remove the screws and throw them away. This is junk. Now to remove the ignition switch with this cover, I have this ring from here that I need to remove it with this special, extremely unique tool. I'm able to do something like that. And the safety ring is removed. You can remove this spacer. And now the ignition switch with its big bracket with this bearing from here, it's easy to be removed. Next step, the shaft. Normally I won't advise you to remove this shaft from the casing because these splices are not identical and it's possible that you won't be able to put it back like the way you remove it. And even so, this one is junk because of that, but the flex disc from here, you can see it is destroyed. So for this I have a 13mm screw. I need to spread a little bit this clamp, and this part is removed. And little by little I have a smaller piece to work with. Nice. Now I want to see if I'm able to remove this, to take it apart, because I want to grease everything here. I want to dismantle the electric motors, to grease them and clean them, because they will be quieter after that. Okay, now I need to find a way to take this apart, because I have some rivets here, one here. This here was violated, but I don't think it will be a problem. Next step, I think I will remove the electric motors. These have a hex screw here. This is one motor with its controller. Okay, and another motor. This one will control the tilt of the steering column. So I will make a T here to make a difference. Next step, the cables. You can see them, they have a profile at each end. And you can see now I can control the movement. And the same with this one. Okay, now I will want to open this to be able to clean the threads, grease them, and I think I will be able to do that by removing these two screws from here, this one and this one. Here inside have some ball bearings, and I imagine if I will remove the screws, the balls will be able to slide out. No. Okay. I have seen the problem, why I can't remove it. You can see inside here, this stopper will prevent this center part to be removed. Okay, to remove this, I need to remove this rivet. Victory! The victory is mine. Now I need to take this part out from here. And the stopper, it's removed. Perfect. These are the rest of the rivet. I think I'm done. One ball bearing. Another one. But why this thing don't want to come out? It's going very slowly. Two more balls. And there is something. And there is something between the balls here and here. Oh, look, this old grease. Yike. These are some guides. And another one here. I think the problem is the ball bearings. They don't want to be easily removed. Yeah, victory. You can see this channel, it's squeezed here, two balls here, this spacer, and two balls here. You can see the wear from all over the years. This is the problem of these columns, one of the problem, especially for the tilt system. This threaded plastic nylon part will fail. I need to clean this, clean everything. Okay, this one I will put it aside. Here I have a big hole. This is the threaded shaft that will interact with the nylon piece. I have here a 30mm screw, 30mm nut. If I will remove this, I'll be able to remove this out. You can see this has some noise, and every little noise will be amplified by the metal, the chassis of the car. And on the car, on the steering column from the car, this is the part that have failed, this plastic collar from here. Next step, the tilt. This one normally will make a ton of noise, and I need to see how to open it. I need to remove these two bushes from here they are expanded here at the end, because this bushing will keep in place these two parts, this one and this one. And after that I will need to cut these rivets to remove this middle part. The thread part have a hex profile, and with the 4mm hex I'm able to keep the threaded part in place, and now I can remove everything. And here the same. And removed. Perfect. You can see this is shorter, this is for up and down, and this is for front and back. And now for these bearings I have done all of this work. I need to clean them, I need to grease them and put them back. This is one. This is the second one. This plastic cage, you can see it started to crack, but unfortunately I cannot find this piece separately. I don't think I can find it. I didn't search it, but I don't know that someone have gone so far to build, to create these parts and sell them. The factory, pretty sure, won't sell something like this. Now with my trusty friend, the WD-40, I will clean everything. This, it's looking perfect. The washer, this, it's a spring washer, you can see, it's concave, it's not straight, you see it? This is a spring. Now the ball bearing, I need to be very careful, because if I will lose that balls, won't be a very nice thing for me. And to clean the balls, there's a little bit of paper. They are very small. This is one of the smallest ball bearing that I have worked on. I don't remember if, I remember I have worked on smaller. The fans, the electric fans from your desktop computer, they have smaller ball bearings. The fans from the ventilation, from the ventilated seats, have the same small bearings. This is different. Now the second one. This is looking like an Oreo biscuit. Perfect. Now the spring washer. I'll put this aside. I'll repeat the process to the other piece.
Minutes later.
And also this piece is done. I will put it aside. Now I will start to clean these big pieces. Even here at this end I have a ball bearing. This is the shaft from the column steering. I will need to grease that. Just have this plastic bushing and you can see the ball bearing inside here. Okay, now I will start to put this thing back. I will start to grease this piece from here. Next, I need to see how I will put this back. I think something like that. I think it's perfect. Next, this big piece. This have a hinge here on this part. Something like that. This rider need to be full of grease, and this one here, something like that. Next, these two pieces and this cover will go in here, and to put this together I will use a screw with a nut. Yeah, they are perfect. Perfect. So before I will put them together forever, I will use some thread locker. Perfect. I hope they won't interfere with nothing, but even the old original rivets have sticked out something like that. Next step, these things from here. Something like that. And this one the same. Perfect. And meantime I have repaired the edge from here. Now it's perfect, it's straight. Next step, these two pieces. And here, first I need to put some grease inside of these rails, because I don't know how much of the grease from the sliding part will be transferred to the stationary part, so I will grease the stationary part also. Much better. Now, two ball bearings here to here. And how I have suspected, I will have some problems here. Everything is good now. Next step, these two spacers, one here and another one on the other side. And here we have a little bit of problemo, because the balls will want to go in the front. So I need to force them.
1 hour later.
After an hour I have managed to put the bolts back. It's a very tough job. It's very hard to put them back, but I have managed to do that. Now everything is working perfect. Now I hope this column will work for a very long period of time, because I have spent some good time working on this. Next step, the electric motors. You can see by my gloves how much work I have done with that bolts, but now it's working. After finishing this part, I will start with the electric motors. First thing, I will release the control unit. What is the secret? Okay, I will leave it like that for the moment. I want to open the gearbox. I have here two screws, T10. Everything here seems to be in perfect condition. I will grease them. Next step, I want to open the electric motor to check the brushes and the collector. For this I need to squeeze these tabs, something like that. Next I want to make a mark here for good measure, in case it's possible to mess up the orientation. Okay, the electric motor has some bushings. You can see here the brushes. This is one, this is the second one. And this is the rotor. And if you are watching closely, this is why I wanted to open this, because you can clearly see here every pad is connected to a winding. These pads need to be separated. You can see clearly here they are almost connected with this grime. This is brush dust, and the brushes are good electrical conductors. That's why they are used as brushes, and because of this the motor will have less power, greater power consumption and less power. So I will need to clean it. This is better. Small things make big difference. Everything is here, it's cleaned. The brushes, they seem to be a little shorter, but they have plenty of meat remained on them. You can clearly see the collector and the brushes, the difference. Nice, this was simple until this moment. At this moment I will grease the shaft of the rotor, send him back, put back the brushes, until now everything was perfect. And last step, is to spread these tabs to completely close back the motor. And last step, the gearbox. I will clean out the old grease, put some new grease. Put back the case cover, put back the two screws. And almost perfect. And put back a new tape, because the old one I have removed it, but without any purpose. Didn't help me with nothing. Now I will repeat the process with this motor, and after that I will assemble them on the steering column. And this one is the same. Okay, so now I want to show you something or explain you something about the memory of this system. How the control unit will know in which position is the steering column to retain the memory. Normally, when you have a memory on an electric motor, on the end of the shaft of the motor will have a sensor, a position sensor, that will know in which position is the electric motor itself. This one, you can clearly see there are only two wires. The two wires are for the brushes. At the end of the controller, this is the controller on the motor, there are three pins, plus, minus and communication. So how this controller will know the position of the motor to remember the memory of the steering column. Every time when the controller will apply voltage to the brushes, to the rotor, the brushes will always make a contact with two pads, two opposite pads, this one and this one. You can see them. These pads are corresponding to a winding in this rotor. When you apply voltage to a winding, the winding will create a magnet field, and the magnet field will repel or be attracted by the permanent magnets. They have their own magnetic field. And when the rotor will start to move, the brushes will start to catch next pads, and next pads, and next pads. In this way, the rotor and the motor will start to move. And now the question, how the controller will know the position of the steering column? This is simple. Every time when the pads are changed, when the windings are changed, will be a current difference, a spike in the voltage and a difference in the current consumption. And the controller will feel that difference. And because of that, the controller will count every single turning of the rotor, that is every single winding. And this is the way that this system have a memory. Normally you have seen it on the other type of memory motors. You have a sensor on the end of the motor. So even if I will mess the memory of this motor, when I will mount it on the car, I will use the switch to command the column to go up and down. And when the column will arrive at the end stop, the controller will feel that the motor, one spin, will have a great current consumption, and from there the controller will know that is at the end of the position. This is very simple. I didn't study this thing, but it's logical that this will work like that. And if you want to use this system separately and you don't have the knowledge or don't know how to wire the controller to work, you can cut the wires from here and use classical switches to control this column. And final step is to reunite the family. Okay, the shorter one, from what I remember, was from here. Like so. And the longer one, it's from inside here, if I remember correctly. Next, I have seen that the motors are in mirror, but I have a T on this one, something like that. The T is for tilt. I have put it there, if you remember, at the beginning of the video. This one needs to be from here. Pull the screws back and call the day off. Okay, seems to be done. Now I will do a short test. Seems to be working. Perfect. My power supply is set to 3 amps because I want to protect the controller. Perfect. So at this moment, this piece, this part, it's ready to go on the car.